English is a language and that is used for communication. So I want my dear students to communicate, to open up your mind. So English is a platform where you can communicate whatever thoughts come to your mind, isn't it? It's a language, right? We use language to communicate. So make use of this platform. Make use of my classroom at the maximum. Make use of it at its maximum so that you can communicate. Is that clear? Yeah, well, I'll tell you. It's a global language. English is known as a global language. Why is it a global language? Because everyone of the world uses English, right? So if we are into a country where we do not know their language, their native language, we try to communicate in English, right? So because English has that global nature. So we have been learning English from when? When onwards did we start learning English? When we were 3, when we were 4 years of age, or even before that? So when in coming to my case, I started learning English even before my parents got admission to a school. Even before they got me into a school, they started to teach me letter A, letter B, and all. We started writing, and only then we went to school when I joined LKG, and from there also we were learning English, and we are still continuing. So you all are in +1 and this is your 13th year, probably the 13th year of learning English, right? So why do our system still, education system still continue to teach us English? So that itself marks the importance of learning English, right? So it's important throughout. So whatever the career we opt for, whatever the course we opt for in our future, or whatever roles we have to play in our future, English plays an important role. So that is why still we tend to learn English, right? So for the last years and all till 10th standard, you were learning different stories, different poems, different essays. Did you learn some essays in for your subject, Kerala syllabus and CBSE syllabus? Did you learn essays or only poems and stories? Someone please, okay, you learned essays also. Good. Yeah, good. So we were learning stories, poems, and essays in 10th standard. Then we learned some part of grammars also, right? So in +1 and +2 also, you have the same system. You will be learning some beautiful stories, some beautiful poems, some sorts of essays also. So that will be an outlook of your whole syllabus. So +1 English textbook has got some difference from that of Kerala syllabus 10th standard textbook. See, in this textbook, you have stories, poems, and essays. And for an exam point of view, you are supposed to learn things from the textbook and then to write those same things into the exam paper. That is usually the mode. Rather than generalized questions, rather than general forms of questions and things like that in Kerala syllabus, this for +1 textbook, you have more textbook oriented kind of questions and all. So it will be more easier for you. Okay, pattern and all is the same. That we will discuss another day. We will discuss about the question paper or the style of exams another day. So you can see my screen, right? So this is the first outlook of your textbook. What is higher secondary course English class +1. So we'll move on. Yeah, this is the table of contents here. So what can you see? How much units are there? We have total 6 units. Unit 1 is glimpses of greatness. Then we have words and deeds. We have beyond the horizon, braving the hazards, harmony of life, leaps and bounds. So total 6 units. So all these 6 units are filled with what? Stories, poems, essays and all. So that is the basics of English. from LKG, maybe from first standard or second standard or third standard to 12th, you will be learning stories, poems, etc. So I think how many of you like to continue with English as your future, like taking English for higher studies? Is there anyone who like to take English for your higher studies, for degree, for PG, etc.? Is there anyone who's interested in teaching English, going with English in the future? Is there anyone? No, everyone are science students. Okay, good. So in case if there is anyone who would like to take English for your future studies, I'll tell you that, yeah, we'll be learning the same poems, stories, dramas and novels and all. Stories and all might change to dramas, but it's in a more detailed manner. We'll be learning how to criticize. You used to write appreciations, right? That will be the shortest form. But criticisms comes by applying theories. We have got many theories in English. So far you haven't listened to any theories in English. But when coming to higher studies, English is full of theories, applying theories to various short stories, various novels, various dramas, etc. So that is the scope of study of English. Now we'll come back to the basic form of English, that is our chapter. So what is here? First unit is, what is our first unit? It's glimpses of greatness. So we'll move on to see. So can you see my screen here? Unit 1, glimpses of greatness. Yeah. So each and every unit begins with a short description of what the unit is about. So in this textbook, they give us an information about what they will be speaking about in each of these units. So in the first unit, the idea they have given us glimpses of greatness. Greatness is a familiar word to each one of you, isn't it? We always strive for greatness. We always want to get success. We always want to reach great heights, isn't it? So your aim now was to reach the heights of SSLC to pass your first height, right? And most of you have gained, or my dear students have gained the highest success there, isn't it? Yes. So that was your first greatness. Now your second greatness has developed. What is that? To complete your higher secondary studies with the greatest marks possible, the greatest grades possible. So greatness is something, or greatness is something that we always look upon to, isn't it? Yes or no? I can't see any responses. What are your? Yes, yes. Okay, good. Okay. So we are looking upon to greatness always. So what does glimpses of greatness mean? Glimpses of greatness mean, someone please tell me the meaning of glimpses. Anyone knows? Okay, yes. It's an overlook, right? We look on to something that is called glimpses. So in this unit, what our syllabus has given us, or what our syllabus asked to do is to look into greatness, to look into the stories of greatness. So where do we get the stories of greatness? From various personalities we are familiar with. So can each one of you please immediately type one of the famous personality you know. I want you to type and give me the message. Yeah, give me the names of one of the famous personality you are well aware of, or you like, or who have been your inspirations. Yeah, quick, write up. I want everyone, okay, APJ Abdul Fida says, APJ Abdul Kalam, very good Fida. Mahatma Gandhi, Farisa Tasni was inspired by Mahatma Gandhi. Yeah, good. Then come on. Everyone, please give your in-call messages. So send me the message. Malala Yousafzai. Who said Malala Yousafzai? And get your name. And Nehru. Yeah, Jawaharlal Nehru, of course. Very good. Next. Only 4 people are there in the classroom. I can see more than 4 people here. And then why? Only 4 people responded. Malala Yousafzai, Malala Yousafzai. Okay, good. Next. Is there anyone else? APJ Abdul Kalam, Helen Keller. Very good. APJ Abdul Kalam, good. Yeah, give the responses immediately. Mahatma Gandhi, says Sanisha, good. Okay, that's it. So you are familiar with few of the people and you are inspired by these people. So what our syllabus asks us is to look forward to more personalities from which we can get inspiration, right? So we love to get inspirations. We love to get motivated. Some love self-motivating. Some want to hear from other people, right? Right, isn't it? Yeah, yes, yes, okay. So, our syllabus or SCRT asks us to look forward into certain personalities, certain people, or some from nature itself, and ask us to get inspired and to get move forward and to move forward for to reach where? To reach greatness, right? So, we have a quote here. What is it? Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. So, my dear students, let's begin today's session with this quote. So, mark this quote. What is that? Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. It was said by Winston Churchill, and you might know Winston Churchill was the former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. UK former Prime Minister. He was the former Prime Minister of UK. And he said once that success is not final. What you have achieved, or once you have achieved a success, that is not the final of it. You have still to do more. You have got more to do again. And failure is not fatal. When you fail in something, when you did not achieve what you have intended, that is not the end. It is not the end of that, but you have still time to do, right? So now you have attained success. I got full A plus in SSLC and now I'll sit idle. Is that the right way? No. You have to work again hard to achieve more, right? Isn't it? Yes, so yes, yeah. And if you didn't get much marks that you intended, there are few students who didn't achieve full marks that they wished for. A few marks were lower. But do they have to sit idle by thinking that, oh, I failed, I can't get success, I didn't reach up to my friend's level, or I didn't reach the expectations of my parents? Should they be sad? No. It's they too have enough and more time to work again, right? So what they should have is the courage to continue that counts, the courage to go forward, the courage to count upon the failures, the courage to count upon success, right? So let's begin today's session with this quote. What is it? Success is not final, failure is not fatal, and it is the courage to continue that counts. So Churchill was not intending you guys, but in the sense of whole things, right? എല്ലാ കാര്യങ്ങളിലെയും വെച്ച് നോക്കുമ്പോഴാണ് ഈ ഒരു സെയിം സാധനം ആപ്റ്റ് ആണ്. നമ്മൾ എവിടെ സക്സസ് നേടിക്കഴിഞ്ഞാലോ ഓ ഞാൻ സക്സസ്ഫുൾ ആയി, ഞാൻ ഭയങ്കര എന്തായി, ഞാൻ എൻ്റെ കരിയറിൽ സക്സസ് ആയിട്ടുണ്ട്, ഇനി എനിക്ക് എന്തും ആവാം, ഇനി ഞാനൊന്നും വർക്ക് ചെയ്യണ്ട, ഞാൻ ഇവിടെ അങ്ങ് ഇരുന്നാൽ മതി. Is that the correct way? No, we have to work more and more. There are more heights waiting for us. Okay. So this whole unit is about success. How we can attain courage, how we need to gain courage to reach heights, to reach success. That is what our syllabus, the unit 1, speaks about. Can we proceed? Is that clear to all? Can we proceed now? Yes. Okay, good. So we'll read. So success is undoubtedly the fruit of perseverance. What is it? Success is undoubtedly the fruit of perseverance. So what do you mean by this word perseverance? What do you mean by perseverance? Have you heard that word before? Have you heard perseverance before? Someone please. Have you heard about perseverance before? Yes. Who was that? Who told yes? Fida. Yeah. What do you know about perseverance, Fida? Yeah. Perseverance means to try and try. Okay. നിരന്തരമായ പ്രയത്നത്തിനെയാണ് we call perseverance. to try without stopping to attain success, to work hard continuously. അതിനാണ് perseverance എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. So you can take your own examples. You learned continuously for your 10th standard. You attended tuitions, you attended the online lectures, you referred to various videos, lectures, you referred to various materials from Google, right? And you worked hard day and night to attain success. So you worked well. So that continuous activity of working hard, doing things hard is what is called perseverance. So success is undoubtedly the fruit of perseverance means success can only attained with what? Continuous hard work. Is that clear? So now the great achievements of others can inspire us and we in turn can be an inspiration to many. The first unit of this textbook, Glimpses of Greatness, highlights the personality traits of some great people and it throws light on the qualities that are to be developed so as to become successful in life. So what does that mean? So we have to work hard continuously to attain our success. There are no shortcuts to success. It is often said like that. There are no shortcuts to success. We have to work hard. So here in this unit also, in this introduction also, they say that success can be attained only through perseverance. And in this book, this unit, Glimpses of Greatness, it highlights the personality traits of some great people. So as I have already mentioned, we will be looking into the life of various people and let us take them as our inspirations for the journey ahead, for our setting of our career, for our future life, right? And we'll look into the qualities they have shown to the world, and let us get inspired from that, and let us develop a successful career or successful life for us. So in this particular unit, we have what to say. We have a poem. We have a nice a life an autobiography kind of thing, and then we have a speech by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, and we'll look into an interesting short story about Abraham Lincoln. So these people are very familiar to you, right? Abraham Lincoln is familiar to you. You are familiar to APJ Abdul Kalam. Most of you have said that you are inspired by APJ Abdul Kalam. Then have you ever heard of Stephen Hawking, who died recently? Yeah, Stephen Hawking, you will be familiar with him. And then we have a poet, Rudyard Kipling. Have you heard him before, Rudyard Kipling? Yes, 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 Fida have heard. Yeah, we'll look into his life also. So in this unit, we have an anecdote from the life of Abraham Lincoln. That chapter is Abe's first speech, a story by Liam Hope Flaherty. There is a short story by him, his first flight. And we have a speech by APJ Abdul Kalam, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, I Will Fly, and a profile of Stephen Hawking. What is it? Quest for a Theory of Everything, and a poem by Rudyard Kipling. F. So, what do you understand from the title of these chapters we are to discuss? His first flight, Abe's first speech, I Will Fly, quest for a theory. If these are all, what kind of words are these? Do they generate any kind of sparks to you? Do they give any sparks to you? There are certain words which give us spark. That makes us refer to that word, right? Is any of these words giving you any spark? My dear students, I want all your responses, okay? I am repeating this because only then we can do the classes. English means it's a platform for communication. So make use of this platform, okay? Okay, yes. So which is the word that gives spark to Archana? Archana, please tell me which word give you the spark? I will fly. Okay. First speech. Okay, good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That was good. So for me, in this case, I was inspired. Or what sparked me was I will fly. So I often consider myself as a bird and to fly, right? We all love to fly. So I often consider myself as a bird. So I will fly was something that inspired me. So, can we move on? So that is about a rough idea about what this unit will be about. So the unit, as you have understood, the unit will be about some success, achieving great heights, and we look into some personalities, how they have achieved their success, or like how they started their career, or maybe what are the things they ask the world to do, and things like that. Okay, shall we move on? So we'll begin with a few works here. You can see here. So what is the first? You can see my screen, right? So here we can. Okay, good. We'll read now. Some are born great, some achieve greatness, some have greatness thrust upon them. These are the beautiful words by William Shakespeare taken from one of his work called Twelfth Night. Twelfth Night is a beautiful work by William Shakespeare. You are familiar with Shakespeare, right? If you are an English student, you should certainly be familiar with Shakespeare. Yeah, yes, good. So here is a quote from his work. Some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. What does that mean? Some people are already born as great. So for example, we can tell the children of the lords and kings and queens who ruled our country once, right? There were plenty of kings and queens who ruled here. So their children were normally born as great, right? They were born as great. Some achieve greatness. Some achieve greatness through their hard work. Like Shakespeare himself. He wrote works. He opened up his ideas to the world. And then what happened? He achieved greatness through his continuous hard work, through his perseverance, right? So some achieve success in that way. While some have success or greatness thrust upon them. What does thrust upon them mean? It was imposed upon them, right? You have to become success. You have to do so and so to achieve success. They were imposed success on them, right? Isn't it? So, here is a question for you. Is greatness an innate trait? Is it acquired by the successful or thrust upon them? So, is greatness innate? Innate means inborn. നമ്മൾ ജനിക്കുമ്പോൾ തന്നെ നമ്മുടെ കൂടെ ഉള്ള ഒരു കാര്യമാണോ ഗ്രേറ്റ്നെസ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്? അതോ മറ്റൊരാൾ നമുക്ക് എന്ത് ചെയ്യാണ് അടിച്ചേൽപ്പിക്കുന്നതാണോ? അതോ ജീവിതത്തിന്റെ വഴികളിലൂടെ നമ്മൾ അക്വയർ ചെയ്തെടുക്കുന്നതാണോ? നമ്മൾ സ്വയം കണ്ടുപിടിച്ച് കിട്ടുന്നതാണോ നമുക്ക് greatness എന്നുള്ളതാണ് ചോദിക്കുന്നത്. Then what is your opinion regarding this? Tell me. ഒന്നാണ് success. Okay, good. Is there any other opinion regarding that? Someone please tell me. Is there any other opinion? No. Okay. So I also believe that we acquire success through what? Through hard work, continuous hard work. But there was a time when success was innate. Like I have mentioned in the earlier periods of history, we know when children are born, or a child is born to a king, he automatically becomes the next what? The next ruler, right? They are born with what? Greatness in themselves. But these days it is not evident anyway. These days people achieve success only through their hard work. Be it a politician, be it a teacher, be it anyone from any profession or any fields of study or any fields of life. They attain success through continuous hard work. So what this unit tries to communicate is that each one of my dear students should also work hard, should have perseverance, and then only then you can attain success. Okay, we'll move to the next activity. What qualities make people great? Discuss with your friends and write them in the boxes below. So here two things are given to attain success, hard work and perseverance. Now please you add up to this. Come on. What are the few things? Confidence, 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 sincerity, then patience, kindness, tolerance. Yeah, next, is there anything else? Hard work is already meant. Perseverance is also given. Anything else? We should be courageous, right? isn't it? Yeah, passion is there. Passion is there. Optimism. Ambition should be there. Good, good. There dedication should be there. There should be willpower also. Good, 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 good. Very good, my dears. So, all these, you're very familiar with this. We should have effort, right? Effort should be there, right? Yeah, self-motivation. Yeah, motivation is very important. Inspiration is also very important. Good, good. Thank you, dears. So, these are few qualities or traits that we should follow in order to achieve greatness. Yeah, attitude also. Navneet, good. Attitude is also very important. So, these are the various ways in which we can achieve greatness. So, hard work, perseverance, optimism, and after all, we should have the courage to do all these things, right? If I tell that, no, I'm so afraid of taking science for my studies, I will not be able to do my maths and all. Then what happened? I lack my courage, right? Then can I succeed? No, I should have the courage to do things. I should have the courage to learn math. I should have the courage to learn physics, chemistry, and all. So that is what leads us to greatness. Okay, now we'll move through the third activity. You can see an image there, can't you? Yes, so what is that image about? So what are the things that come to your mind when you see this particular image? Someone please? Lack of confidence, okay. Something else? Any memories that come to you? Yes. Please tell me what is shy, okay. Avneet says shy, okay. That's right. Then any memories do you have regarding this image? Okay, then I'll tell you. I had an experience of the same situation uh, when I was in my 7th standard. I participated for poem recitation in my school youth festival. So I daringly participated for that. But when one on that day, I was so tense and I was so afraid to go before the mic. And unfortunately, my chest number was 1. And think about the situation. And I was telling my friend, no, I'm not going to participate. I'll leave now. But they pushed me through the stage. And then what happened? I sang and I received the 3rd prize that day. And that was my first experience before a mic. And that changed altogether. Then from then on, I started to participate for speech, elocution competition, extemporary. I started to participate for recitation competitions and all. So that was the first attempt for before an audience was something like what Navneet told. It was shy, lack of confidence and all. So did any one of you had the same situations before? Yes or no? Everyone left this? Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So this image can certainly bring many memories to you, like memories, and some ideas also have come to your mind, like lack of confidence, being shy. Then what? The it is like a thrusting, no, to become successful. They are imposing us. Go and speak, right? So that is about the image. So what we have to understand from this image is that from what I have told is that once you daringly attempt for something, it can change your life itself. So once you have daringly attempted to speak, then you will have the confidence, yeah, I can speak and I will speak. And then onwards, you will have that full confidence to be before the audience, right? So what you should have is confidence. You should have hard work. You should have perseverance and things like that. You should put your efforts to learn, isn't it? Okay. Now I think we'll move into the chapter. So this is also, can you see, Abe's first speech. This is not the part of the chapter. Our first chapter is his first flight, a story by Liam Hoflakmati. But this is also an introductory part. But questions usually come from this part also for examination. So we'll see, we'll begin with the life story from Abraham Lincoln, one of the celebrated Who's he? A celebrated orator, celebrated personality, right? Most of you might be very familiar with Abraham Lincoln, isn't it? So we'll be looking into Abraham Lincoln. So who was Abraham Lincoln? He was an American lawyer and statesman who served as the 16th president. He was the 16th president of of he was the 16th president of US. Did you all know that before? Abraham Lincoln was the 16th president of United States. Yeah, very good. So he started as the president in 1861. Which year? He began his reign as the president in 1861, and in 1865 he was assassinated. Assassinated means he was killed. So until then he was the president of America. Abraham Lincoln was the 16th president. He is an American lawyer. By profession he was a lawyer. He was a lawyer by profession, and he was the 16th. He became the 16th president of US. And one thing is, Abraham Lincoln came from a very middle class family. He worked hard day and night to reach his highest position of being the president of United States. And finally in 1865 he was assassinated. So now you can read from here. Abraham Lincoln is one of the greatest of American statesmen. He is known for his celebrated speeches. So he is well known for the highly efficient speeches. He was such a good orator. Have you heard the word orator before? O-R-A-T-O-R. O-R-A-T-O-R. Orator meaning speaker. Okay. So he was such a great orator. He was the greatest of American statesmen. He is well known for his speeches. And now we'll see the story here. I told you that this is an anecdote. Anecdote nu parayunna endana? It's a short, interesting story from the real life incidents. റിയൽ ആയിട്ട് നടന്നിട്ടുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങളിൽ സംഭവങ്ങളിൽ നിന്ന് എടുത്തിട്ടുള്ള സ്റ്റോറീസിനെയാണ് anecdote എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. Anecdote. Okay. Is that clear? So, yes, now we will take look into an anecdote from the life of Abraham Lincoln. Okay, so his first speech, that itself gives us an idea that we are going to speak about the very first speech Abraham Lincoln might have delivered to an audience. Okay, so let's see what happened. He made his first speech when he was a boy, going barefoot, his trousers held up by one suspender, had a shock of hair sticking through a hole in the crown of his cheap straw hat. So, it's about a young boy, Abe. And who is this Abe? Who is this Abe? That was Abraham Lincoln. Yes. So, Abe made his first speech when he was a boy, going barefoot. Barefoot means that he was such a poor boy. He didn't have those slippers. He didn't have those slippers to wear. He didn't have the perfect shoes to wear. So, he was going barefoot, and his trousers was held up by one suspender. What do you mean by suspender? Suspender means a kind of rope kind of thing. No, we suspend something. We hang something. That is called a suspender. So here trouser held up by suspender, meaning that you will be very familiar with those kind of dresses, right? Trousers with two straps from the trousers. You'll be familiar with that, like baby's baba suit. We used to speak like that, and now girls too have such kind of dresses, right? Yes, yeah, yeah. So that is his trouser. He didn't have any other things. He had only the trousers with just one suspender on this. There was only one strap on it, on that, to put that in place. And he was barefoot, and his shock of hair. The shock of hair means his hair was sticking through a hole in the crown of his cheap straw hat. So he was wearing such a cheap straw hat. What is straw hat? hat made up of hay. വൈക്കോല് വെച്ചിട്ടൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടാക്കിയിട്ടുള്ള കച്ചികളൊക്കെ വെച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടാക്കിയിട്ടുള്ള hat ആണ് what? Straw hat എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. So it has got holes in that and his hair was coming out through these holes. Is that clear? So that was the kind or appearance of this particular Abe. Right. Abe's condition or Abraham Lincoln was such a poor boy. He didn't have proper dress. He didn't have proper footwears. He didn't have a proper hat. He was such a poor boy. And still, what happened? He was going. Now, he was walking barefoot. And what happened suddenly? Abe, in company with his rail-splitting companion, Dennis Hanks. What is rail-splitting companion? Okay, just note that term, rail-splitting. Dennis Hanks attended a political meeting which was addressed by a typical stump speaker, one of those loud-voiced fellows who shouted at the top of his voice and waved his arms wildly. So what happened? One day, Dennis Hanks and Abe is Abraham Lincoln and is one of the closest friend Dennis Hanks. Both of them were going for what? They were rail-splitting companions. What do you mean by rail-splitting companion? So you can see from the bottom part of the textbook, Lincoln has often been portrayed as a rail splitter, wielding a heavy axe and splitting logs to make rail fences. So rail splitting means wood cutting, and for what purpose? Wood cutting for the purpose of mending walls, mending fences. Okay. ഈ വേലി അടയ്ക്കാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് വേലി ഉണ്ടാക്കാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് അതിനു വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് വുഡ് കട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്ന പരിപാടിനെയാണ് എന്തെന്ന് പറയുന്നത് റെയിൽ സ്പ്ലിറ്റിംഗ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. So splitting of the wood for the purpose of fencing. Is that clear? So I can show you an image of that. Okay, I'll give you an image of that. This is the activity they do. So they split this logs, and the side, can you see this area? This area, can you see many logs are there, small pieces of woods are there. So with heavy axe they used to cut. Okay, so that is rail splitting for the purpose of fencing. Okay, fence എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ എന്താണ്? വേലി ആണ് ട്ടോ fence എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. So for the purpose of fencing, they cut big logs into pieces. That job is called rail splitting, and Abe or Abraham Lincoln was known as a rail splitter. Okay, so from there he had a best friend. Who was he? Dennis Hanks. And they attended a political meeting which was addressed by a typical stump speaker. So what is the stump speaker? Have you heard the term stump before? Have you heard the term stump? Yeah, stump. Have you heard? No or yes? Yes. Yeah, someone has told yes. Yeah, we often use stumps in cricket, right? Don't we? We use stumps in cricket, isn't it? Cricketla, what is stump in cricket? That's the pieces of wood, right? That we keep near the behind the batsman, right? We keep behind the batsman. We'll have stump, and then after a few distance also we keep stumps. It is based on the falling of these stumps and all. Where if the ball hits on the stump, we'll call it out and all things like that, right? I'm not familiar with that game, though I know few of the things used in cricket. So that is stump. So here, what is stump speaker? So in the earlier period, when Abraham Lincoln was young, before the starting of 19th century and all, so he belonged to a 19th century period, 1861 and all. In that earlier period, people used to, now we see speeches where people stand upon the stage and speak, right? People stand on stage with a mic and things and they speak. But in the earlier period, there was no stage and all. What they do is, there will be many stumps. Stumps meaning wood pieces that will be on some particular height. ഒരു കുറച്ച് ഹൈറ്റിലായിട്ട് ഒരുപാട് സ്റ്റംപ്സ് ഇങ്ങനെ വെക്കും. അതിന്റെ മുകളിൽ കയറി നിന്നിട്ടായിരുന്നു they used to speak. Okay, so that is a stump speaker. So here Abe and Dennis happens to see a stump speaker, a political stump speaker, and he was speaking at the loudest voice possible, at the highest voice he can get. So അത്ര ഉച്ചത്തിൽ അവിടെ നിന്ന് politically something he was trying to campaign, he was trying to communicate. Okay, is that clear? That part is clear to you? Hello? Okay, good. Okay. So he addressed by a typical stump speaker. Yes? Is there any doubt? Hello? Okay, okay. Can I proceed? Can I continue? Okay, okay. So it was addressed by a typical stump speaker, one of those loved voiced fellows who shouted at the top of his voice and waved his arms widely. So you might have seen many of the political leaders, they speak at the highest voice they have, right? They speak very loudly and they have many actions to show. They'll be waving their hands, they'll be speaking loudly. Such a same political leader was trying to campaign there when Abe and his friend Dennis was walking by. At the conclusion of the speech, which did not meet the views either of Abe and Dennis, the latter declared that Abe could make a better speech than that. Whereupon he got a dry goods box and called on Abe to reply to the campaign orator. So what happened? So the political leader or political person was speaking ഘോരഘോരമായിട്ട് അവിടെ സംസാരിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്. But what happened? Abe and Dennis could not agree with the orator's views regarding what he was speaking. They could not accept what the orator had spoken. They could not accept the views of the orator. So they said that no, these are not what we support. This is not the way to speak, or these are not the things that should be communicated. Is it clear? So there was a contrast between the idea of or the view of Abe and Dennis versus that of whom? That of the stump speaker. And then what happened? The later declared. Who is the later? Later is defined. Who is later here? Is it Abe or Dennis? Who is the later here? Hello? Please tell me who is the later here? No. Later, if two names are given, then the later means the second person. Okay, someone has unmuted. Please turn off your mic. Okay. Okay. So when two names are given, here we have Abe and Dennis. And then when we refer to the later meaning, the second person described there. So who is the second person here? It is Dennis. Okay. If I tell Hashmi and Wafa are friends and the later is the friend of mine. So then who is the later here? It is Wafa. Wafa is the friend of mine. Okay. So that is what happened here. So Abe and Dennis, the later declared. So views either of Abe and Dennis, and the later declared that Abe could make a better speech than that. So here later is Dennis. So Dennis argued that Abe can certainly make a superb speech than what the orator has already mentioned or the stump speaker has said. Is that clear? And then what happened? Whereupon he got a dry goods box and called on Abe to reply to the campaign orator. Here he is Dennis. Dennis pulled out what? A goods box, a dry old goods box, and asked Abe to campaign against the orator. Campaign or to speak against the orator or to give an answer to the orator's speech. Okay. So Abe was a small boy. So Abe was given a goods box onto which he should mount upon and then deliver the speech. So Dennis was what? Dennis was promoting Abe, right? Dennis knew that Abe is, or Dennis believed that Abe is such a beautiful person, such a great person. So Dennis was giving Abe an opportunity to make use of his what? Make use of his talent. Okay. Is that clear? Hello? Anyone there? Oh, okay. So we'll proceed. So little Abe threw his old straw hat on the ground and mounting the dry goods box, delivered a speech which held the attention of the crowd and won him considerable applause. Even the campaign orator admitted that it was a fine speech and answered every point in his own oration. So what happened? So we have seen that Abe and Dennis made Abe or pulled out a dry goods box and asked Abe to reply the campaign orator. And what did Abe did? Little Abe threw away his old straw hat and mounting on that dry goods box. You can see from the image, he has mounted upon a goods box and he is delivering a speech. He delivered a speech which held the attention of the crowd. So Abe's speech held the attention of the crowd and won him considerable applause. Applause meaning many okay. Abhinandanangal kitti le? That is it. Applause. Even the campaign orator, the stump speaker, campaign orator is a stump speaker. Even that campaign orator admitted that it was a fine speech and answered every point in his own oration. The stump speaker's oration was answered by whom? By Abe. Abe has done such a beautiful and fine speech, and even that stump speaker, who is a campaign orator itself, appreciated Abe for his speech. Dennis Hanks, who thought Abe was the greatest man who ever lived, was delighted, and he often spoke of how young Abe got the better of the trained campaign speaker. So what happened? Dennis Hanks, he believed in his friend Abe. Dennis Hanks was so confident about his friend Abe. He believed Abe, and he believed that Abe was such a greatest man who have ever lived. And he was so proud that Abe has given such a wonderful speech and has argued against the oration of whom? Against the oration of the stump speaker. Okay, so Abe's friend Dennis has in fact, what did Dennis do? Dennis has in fact given all the confidence and courage to Abe to move forward, to prove his talent, isn't it? Yes. Do you have friends like that who promote you to do good things? Who promote? Yeah, yes, very good. Such friends are the greatest gifts you can ever get. So make use of your friends in that way. You should also promote your friends also. So Abe has got a very good friend. That was Dennis Hand, who knew him well, who believed in his own friend, right? So that is a story of inspiration, or that was the first experience of Abe speaking, and that went into a successful one, right? That became very important speech in his life, a turning moment in his life, isn't it? Okay. So that is a general introduction. So from here, from this story also, we understand that we are to understand that success is achieved through hard work, confidence, perseverance, etc. Right? So that is the general idea of Abe's life, how Abraham Lincoln became the Abraham Lincoln we know, right? How Abe became that Abraham Lincoln. This rail splitter became the president of US, right? Certainly, it will be through what? Through hard work, right? So is it clear? This area is clear for you? Is that story clear to everyone? Okay. Now, can I proceed? Now, let's move into the real chapters from this unit. Can we proceed? We'll give an idea. Okay, we'll create a short idea. Okay. So, this is the first chapter, His First Flight by Liam Ho Flaherty. So, have anyone heard Liam Ho Flaherty before? Have anyone heard of Flaherty before? Any stories? Any novels? Yes, someone told me yes. Fida, please tell me, what have you heard of Flaherty before? You have studied the same story last year. Okay, so you'll be familiar with all the characters from the story, right? Okay, good. So that will benefit you again for this year also. You'll be thorough with the chapter. Good, good, good. So let's see. Who is Liam O'Flaherty? So as I have mentioned, this unit is full of success stories to look into personalities, right? To various personalities who have achieved success, isn't it? Hello? Yes, okay. So similarly, this is also a success story. Not just success story, it is how we have to be confident. This story speaks of how one should be confident enough of oneself. So I should be confident of myself, right? Nasrin should be confident of her that she can do things. Fida should be confident that she can do something. So in that same way, self-confidence is important if we want to achieve success. So this story is about something how we should develop self-confidence. The importance of having how we should be independent of ourselves. Right, we should not always depend on people. We should be independent of ourselves. Right, isn't it? Okay, so let's start. We'll start with Liam O'Flaherty. Please note down his name, Liam O'Flaherty, and I'll give you a few points regarding him. Liam O'Flaherty is an Irish novelist. He is an Irish novelist. Liam O'Flaherty is an Irish novelist. He is a short story writer. He's a short story writer. He was a socialist. Can you see my screen now? He was a socialist writer. One second. Okay. He was a socialist writer from the first half of 20th century. Okay. So 20th century, he is still a living writer, I guess. And yeah, he's still a living writer. He was a socialist writer in the 20th century. Okay, he was an Irish novelist. He's a short story writer. He's well known for his short stories, though he has written some novels which has became the bestsellers and all. He was a socialist writer of 20th century. Now I'll give you some descriptions about his works, earlier works. It was in 1923, at the age of 27, he published his first short story, and that was Thy Neighbor's Wife. What is it? What was his first work? Thy Neighbor's Wife. Okay, in 1923, at the age of 27, he published his first short story, that was Thy Neighbor's Wife. In 1924, what did he do? He became the co-founder. He became the co-founder of the Radical Club. He became the co-founder of. Have you written this portion, the starting portion? Irish novelist and all. Have you noted that? Okay, then I'll rub that off. So in 1924, he became the co-founder of the Radical Club. So there was a club, or that was a group of artists. The members were artists, be it a writer or painters and all. It was a group of artists called the Radical Club. 1924, he became the co-founder of this Radical Club. Okay, is that clear? And in 1925, what happened? He published the best-selling novel. What was that name? The Informer. That was his best-selling novel, which was written in 1925. 1925, he wrote the best-selling novel, The Informer. So we mentioned that he was an Irish novelist, a short story writer. He was a socialist writer in the early part of 20th century. At the age of 27, in the year 1923, he published his first short story. What was that? Thy Neighbor's Wife. In 1924, he co-founded the Radical Club. which was a club intended for members like artist people. In 1925, he published his best-selling novel, The Informer. Okay, is that clear? And to add up, I'd like to tell you that his works were noted for their psychological insights. There was high psychology working in his works that often dealt with the daily life problems, the ways of overcoming them, how we can overcome them, the daily problems one faces in their life. So these were the common themes or common ideas that was propagated by Liam O'Flaherty in his works. Okay, psychological insights about daily life problems and the ways to overcome that. So that's the basic idea regarding Liam O'Flaherty. What you have to notice, he is an Irish novelist, a short story writer. Then 1927 he published his first work. Which was that work? Someone please tell me, which was that first work? Yeah, Thy Neighbor's Wife. Good. 1924 he founded a club. What was that? He became a co-founder of a club. Which club was it? The Radical Club. Okay. Then 1927 he had his best-selling novel. Which was that? Info. Okay. And what were the common themes in his work? Yeah, psychological insights, then daily life problems and the ways to overcome these problems. Is that clear? That is a basic outline of what Liam O'Flaherty is. For more references, you can also refer to various websites. Okay. Is that clear? Shall we move on? Okay. So let's read. Let's read the story of a young seagull that was Okay. So we'll move on. Let's read the story of a young seagull that was afraid to make its first flight and how its parents guided it into action and thereby equipped it to face the challenges of life. So his first flight. What is the topic? His first flight. Okay, what do you get? What is the idea that comes to your mind when you hear the term first flight or just flight? What is the first idea that comes to your mind when you hear these terms? In the last part, we spoke about the first speech. That gives many memories to you all guys. What is the first idea that comes to your mind when we speak first flight or simply the term flight? Is there anything that comes to your mind? Someone please respond immediately. Aeroplane. Yeah, very good. Next, is there anything else someone has? Ashir, very good. Aeroplane. Hello. Okay, I think most of you have the same opinion. Aeroplane. Yeah, even when I first had read this book back when I was in my 12th standard, plus one, the first idea that came to my mind was flight. After that, when I looked upon this book few days back to teach you to refer to this chapter, then flight, when I read the word flight, what came to my mind was take off, that film. Okay, that term, take off, came to my mind. Okay, so it changes according to various things we are exposed to. So anyway, it is about a kind of flying, right? A flying atmosphere comes to the mind when we hear the word flight. Aeroplane is about heights. Heights also come to your mind, right? So here also, his first flight refers to the story of a young seagull. What is a seagull? Have you seen a seagull before? Have you heard of seagulls before? Seagulls are, yes, കടൽക്കാക്കയാണ് seagull. കടലിന്റെ സൈഡിലൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടാവുന്ന ഒരു തരത്തിലുള്ള പക്ഷിയാണ് കടൽക്കാക്ക. നമ്മുടെ നോർമൽ കാക്കയല്ല. It is another kind of bird ആണ് seagull എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. So it is about the life of a young seagull who is about to take her first flight. Is about to take his first flight. First flight എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് എന്താണ്? ആദ്യത്തെ പറക്കൽ അല്ലെ? ആദ്യമായിട്ട് പറക്കാൻ വേണ്ടി തയ്യാറെടുക്കുന്ന ഒരു young seagullinte storyയാണ്. Is that clear? Now yes. Now let's see the chapter. Okay, good. So we'll read. The young seagull was alone on his ledge. His two brothers and his sister had already flown away the day before. He had been afraid to fly with them. Somehow, when he had taken a little run forward to bring off the ledge and attempted to flap his wings, he became afraid. The great expanse of sea stretched down beneath, and it was such a long way down, miles down. He felt certain that his wings would never support him, so he bent his head and ran away back to the little hole under the ledge where he slept at night. Okay, so here there is a detailed description of the young seagull, his family, and the place where he lived. And what all have been discussed here? Let's see. The young seagull was alone on his ledge. He was alone on his ledge. What is a ledge? It is this big rock with steepness. Steep ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഉയർന്നിട്ടുള്ള റോക്സിനെയാണ് എന്തെന്ന് പറയുന്നത്? Ledge എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. Okay. So, and what happened? Then we have seen here the great expanse of the sea stretched down beneath. So, we know that we are describing about a seagull. Then we have the highest ledge there. Then we see the ambience of a sea. That makes clear that this particular ledge is situated in the sea and the seagull is on top of that ledge. Ano? Angana oru image vanno ningalku? Can you see that image of a vast and wide sea and a huge rock in the sea, and then the seagull on top of that? Yes, very good. So, yeah. So now our whole story is situated around this ledge, around the sea. So you should have a clear image of the sea, the ledge, and our seagull. Okay, only then you will get this chapter. Is that clear? So I'll move on. So what about the family of our seagull? He has got two brothers and a sister. So the young seagull was all alone on the ledge, and his brothers and sister had already flown away the day before, and he had been afraid to fly with them. So this brothers and sisters and parents has left this young seagull on the ledge, and they have flown away. Why didn't our seagull move from there? Because he was afraid to fly. Even being a seagull who is blessed with the capability of flying, he was afraid, right? നമുക്ക് എന്താണ്, നമ്മളെ സംബന്ധിച്ചിടത്തോളം ഇവിടെ നമ്മൾ കൺസിഡർ ചെയ്യുകയാണെങ്കിൽ നമുക്ക് സ്പീക്ക് ചെയ്യാനുള്ള കഴിവെല്ലാം കിട്ടിയിട്ടുണ്ട്. പക്ഷെ പലപ്പോഴും നമുക്ക് എന്താണ്, we are afraid to speak, right? ആ സെയിം അവസ്ഥയാണ് ഇവിടെ അല്ലേ? He has the ability to fly, but the young seagull is afraid to fly. He had been afraid to fly with them. Somehow, when he had taken a little run forward to the brink of the ledge and attempted to flap his wings, he became afraid. So what happened? He had tried to fly, but once he reached at the brink of the ledge, brink means a ledge inde ഏറ്റവും അറ്റത്തെത്തുമ്പോൾ, അതിന്റെ വക്കിലെത്തുമ്പോൾ what happened? He feels terrified, he feels fear. No, he becomes afraid. The great expanse of sea stretched down beneath, and it was such a long way down, miles down, and he felt certain that his wings would never support him. So he bent his head and ran away back to the little hole under the ledge where he slept at night. So he once or twice tried to fly, but as soon as he reached at the brink of that ledge, he became afraid. And by what? Why is he afraid? He looked forward and see the vast extended sea, and he feared the depths of the sea. the distance of the sea, right? അതിന്റെ vastness, sea എന്നതിന്റെ vastness കാണുമ്പോ തന്നെ he's afraid about that. What he does, he returns back to the hole where he used to sleep, where he slept that night. So he was so afraid of flying. Is that clear? He thinks that his wings will not support him for flying. He feels that his wings might not help him fly, and he was afraid of this vast sea. So our little seagull was so terrified in his activity of flying, and he was left behind on that ledge, and all his parents, brothers and sister has left him all alone there. Is that clear? We'll move on. Even when each of his brothers and his little sister, whose wings were far shorter than his own, ran to the brink, flapped their wings and flew away, he failed to muster up courage to take that plunge which appeared to him so desperate. His father and mother had come around, calling to him shrilly, scolding him, threatening to let him starve on his ledge unless he flew away. But for the life of him, he could not move. So what happened? So his brothers, sisters and parents has left him, and the seagull says that his brothers and sisters' wings were far shorter than him. നമ്മുടെ seagull, young seagullനെക്കാളും കുഞ്ഞു ചിറകുകളായിരുന്നു brothers and sisters had. But still they flown away. But a seagull was left behind because he was afraid to fly. Okay. So the little brother and sister, they ran onto the brink, they flapped their wings and flew away. Flapped their wings എന്നൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞാൽ ചിറകടിച്ചിട്ട് they flown away. And but he failed to muster up courage. പക്ഷെ നമ്മുടെ seagull എന്താണ്? He was afraid to, he didn't have that courage, അല്ലേ? muster up meaning സമാഹരിക്കുക, courage, ധൈര്യം സമാഹരിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് മുന്നോട്ട് പോവാൻ ആർക്ക് കഴിഞ്ഞില്ല? Our young seagull couldn't do that. He couldn't muster up the courage to move forward, and he became so desperate. He was so sad enough. He was so moody. His father and mother had come around, calling to him shrilly, scolding him, threatening to leave him, let him starve on his ledge. So what happened? Parents came, his parents, the young seagull's parents often come near him and scold and chastise him for not flying. And they ask him, you just go and starve if you cannot fly. നീ പോയിട്ട് അവിടെ വിശന്നിരുന്നോ, നീ പട്ടിണി കിടന്നോ, അവിടെ പറക്കാൻ നിനക്ക് ഇത്രയും കാലമായിട്ട് ധൈര്യം ഇല്ലെങ്കിൽ നീ അവിടെ തന്നെ കിടന്നോ എന്ന രീതിയിൽ parents used to come and scold him. His father and mother had come around, calling to him shrilly. Shrilly means ഭയങ്കര രൂക്ഷമായിട്ട്, അല്ലെ, വഴക്ക് പറയാ. And threatening him to let him starve on his ledge unless he flew away. But for the life of him, he could not move. പക്ഷെ അവന് ജീവൻ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ എന്താണ്, അവന് പറക്കാനാവില്ല. He was so afraid of flying. He thought that his wings might not support him, and he was also afraid of the vast sea. Is that clear to you? Let's move on. Okay, that was 24 hours ago. Since then, nobody had come near him. The day before, all day long, he had watched his parents flying about with his brothers and sisters, perfecting them in the art of flight, teaching them how to skim the waves and how to dive for fish. He had in fact seen his older brother catch his first herring and devour it, standing on a rock, while his parents circled around, raising a proud cackle, and all the morning, cackle, proud cackle. So what happened there? So all these things happened 24 hours ago, meaning that it was the last day that everything happened, that his parents and siblings has left him alone on the ledge, and nobody has come near him. And now on this day, he has been seeing his parents and his brothers and sisters flying near that ledge in utter distance, and they were enjoying themselves the art of flight, right? Brothers and sisters were enjoying the art of flight, and they were learning new techniques of diving, catching the prey, skimming the waves. Skimming the waves means how to move between the waves or how to avoid these waves while they fly. So they were doing all these things, and he also saw that one of his brother has caught his first herring. First time a prey അല്ലെങ്കിൽ മറ്റൊരു ഫിഷിനെ ആയിരിക്കും സീയിൽ നിന്ന് കുത്തിയെടുത്തിട്ട് പറക്കുന്നത് കണ്ടു for the first time, and his parents were applauding him for that. This proud cackle means shrill cry എന്നൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ പറയില്ലേ, proud cackle means ആ ഒരു കലപില സൗണ്ട് ഉണ്ടാക്കുക കേട്ടോ. That is it. Is that portion clear? Okay. So in that portion they were telling that നമ്മുടെ young seagull ന് ഒറ്റയ്ക്ക് അവിടെ ledgeലായിരുന്നു. It was the last previous day that happened, and the next day none of his parents nor his brothers and sisters came to him, but that parents and brothers and siblings were enjoying themselves at a distance away from our young seagull, and there they were learning the new techniques of flying, new techniques of how to skim, how to catch prey and things like that, and they were enjoying their meals and foods there. Is that clear? Moving on, we'll have, okay. And all the morning, the whole family had walked about on the big plateau midway down. One second. Okay. Family had walked about. Okay. So the family had walked about on the big plateau midway down the opposite cliff, laughing at his covered eyes. But they were enjoying, brothers, the siblings and the parents were enjoying on that plateau. Plateau എന്താണ്? ഉയർന്ന സമതലത്തെ, ഉയർന്ന പ്രദേശത്തെയാണ് നമ്മൾ plateau എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. So they were on the opposite cliff. Cliff is also same as ledge. Ledge and cliff are same. Heightened rocks നെയാണ് cliffs അല്ലെ ledge എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. So that is same. So they were enjoying on the opposite cliff, and the young seagull was left behind. So here we can say that we can see that the parents and the siblings were mocking at the coward eyes of our young seagull. Coward eyes എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ എന്താണ്? ഭീരുത്വം അല്ലേ? He was fearful. He didn't have the courage to fly. He was afraid to fly, right? So the parents and the siblings were mocking at our young seagull for not able to fly, for his lack of confidence and courage. Shall we move on? Is that part clear to you? Okay. Now, the sun was now ascending the sky, blazing warmly on. His ledge had faced the south. He felt the heat because he had not eaten since the previous nightfall. Then he had found a dried piece of mackerel's tail at the far end of his sledge. Now there was not a single scrap of food left. He had searched everywhere, every inch, rooting among the rough, dirt-caked straw nest where he and his brothers and sisters had been hatched. He even gnawed at the dried pieces of eggshell. It was like eating a part of himself. Now what happened? That shows the pathetic situation of our young seagull. The young seagull didn't have enough food. He was left all alone on the ledge, and just 2 days has passed he being alone there. Now when the sun ascends the sky, meaning that sun sunrise on land, the next morning happens, blazing warmly on the ledge that faced the south, and he felt the heat because he had not eaten since the previous nightfall. So since the previous night he hadn't eaten anything, and he had felt so hungry that he can get the heat so fast. And then what happened? He was so tired, and then he found a dried piece of mackerel's tail from the far end of his ledge. So on the end, one of the end of his ledge, he saw what? What did he see? He saw dried piece of the mackerel's tail. Mackerel, you might know, mackerel is ayala എന്ന് പറയുന്ന fish ഇല്ലേ? That is mackerel. So that's dried pieces there. Maybe it is what their family might have enjoyed. അതിന്റെ remaining ആയിരിക്കും. നേരത്തെ അവർ അവരുടെ family ആയിട്ട് അവിടെ നിന്ന സമയത്ത് അവർ enjoy ചെയ്ത food ന്റെ remainings ആയിരിക്കും, that is so dried up, dried piece of mackerel stay, and now there was not a single scrap of food left, and now nothing is left for the seagull. There he is into starvation. He had searched every inch, rooting among the rough, dirt-caked straw nests. So there he found the nest in which he and his siblings were hatched, and he even tried to gnaw the dried pieces of eggshell. Gnaw means try to eat up the dried pieces of eggshell, but he felt like he was eating a part of himself. Why did he feel that he was eating the part of himself? Someone please tell me, why did he feel that he was eating a part of himself? Hello? Harshit, please tell me, why did the seagull felt like he was eating a part of himself? Okay, Adina VP, please tell me. Is Harshit there? Harshit is there online? Okay, then Harshit, tell me why the seagull felt that he was eating the part of himself. Ah, okay, good. So, only the thing that was remaining there was the eggshells that from which our seagull has emerged. No, the seagull was hatched. So when he tried to eat that, what happened? He felt like he was eating himself. He was eating a part of himself. So that was the pathetic condition of our seagull who was left alone on the ledge. Is that portion clear? Up to that, is it clear to all of you? Okay. Now just take 5 minutes, few minutes to read the whole portion till this, his first flight, from the first paragraph to this. Read quickly and tell me. Please read and ask if there is any doubt. So all of you are reading from PDFs. Are you reading in your mobile phones? Textbook itself. How many of you are reading from your handsets, mobile phones? So these students who are reading from their mobile phones, from next class onwards, please make sure to take a printout of this first chapter, 1 or 2 chapters, okay, this chapter and the next chapter. You should take your printouts immediately, okay. Until you get your textbooks, make sure that you take your printout of the first 2 chapters. By that time, you will be able to collect the textbooks. So reading in phone is difficult while we are taking classes. Okay, so have you completed your reading? Okay, everyone completed? Is there any doubt from that portion? No, okay, good, thank you. We'll stop there for today's class. Before that, I want to ask you a few things and to let you know another few things also. Okay, someone has not yet completed. കംപ്ലീറ്റ് ചെയ്തു എന്നാണോ പറഞ്ഞത്? അതിന്റെ കാര്യമാണോ പറയുന്നത് അതോ ഡൗട്ട് ഇല്ല എന്നാണോ പറഞ്ഞത്? What was that? Okay, anyway, so we'll wind up today's sessions with this area, and we'll look on to the next portions in the next coming class. So before that, I would like to know, I want genuine responses from all of you, like how was today's session? Like, is this method of teaching okay for you, or is there any changes that I should make? Hello? Is this system okay for you? Okay. Should I explain more in Malayalam or the same way today? Which is more comfortable? This is fine. Okay. No doubt. Okay. This is okay, ma'am. Okay. Fine. Thank you. So I think the system is okay to all of you. We'll be continuing the next chapters also in the same way. I think you can follow me. If I go into speed, you just tell me. You just unmute and tell Miss, you are going too fast. Please slow down. Okay. Is there any usually I think like I feel like I go so speed and all. So you just tell me if I go more speed. You just inform me. Okay. So I think that today's class was comfortable to you. Okay. Oh, thank you. And then another thing what I want to tell you is about our admissions. You might be very familiar that our admissions are still going on. So what you have to do is communicate this information with your friends and family. There will be your friends, your family who would like to go for tuitions, who would like to get coachings and all. So inform your friends and family about our institution. Okay. At least 2 students should join under you. അല്ലെ, നിങ്ങൾ അത് ഓർപ്പിക്കുക. നിങ്ങളെ കാരണത്താൽ നിങ്ങളുടെ ഒരു ഇൻഫ്ലുവൻസ് കൊണ്ട് 2 കുട്ടികളെങ്കിലും നമ്മുടെ കൂടെ ജോയിൻ ചെയ്തു എന്ന് നിങ്ങൾ ഉറപ്പ് വരുത്തുക. നിങ്ങളുടെ ഫ്രണ്ട്സിനോട് പറയാം. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് നമ്മുടെ ക്ലാസ്സിന്റെ സ്റ്റൈലും സിസ്റ്റവും ഒക്കെ മനസ്സിലായതല്ലേ? നമ്മളിങ്ങനെ ലൈവ് ആയിട്ട് എടുക്കുന്ന സമയത്ത് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ക്ലിയർ ആണോ? പോർഷൻസ് എല്ലാം ക്ലിയർ ആവുന്നില്ലേ? ഇന്ന് ആദ്യമായിട്ട് ജോയിൻ ചെയ്ത കുട്ടികളുണ്ട്. ഇംഗ്ലീഷിന്റെ ക്ലാസ് കണ്ടു. ഇങ്ങനെ ആയിരിക്കും നമ്മൾ എല്ലാ സബ്ജക്റ്റും ചെയ്യുന്നത്. ലൈവ് ആയിട്ട് ഇവിടെ ചെയ്യുന്ന പ്രോബ്ലംസ് എല്ലാം കാണാൻ കഴിയും. ഇപ്പൊ പ്രോബ്ലം പേപ്പേഴ്സ് ചെയ്യുകയാണെങ്കിൽ ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് കുറച്ചും കൂടെ ലൈറ്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു സബ്ജക്റ്റ് ആണ്. നമ്മൾ അഡ്മിഷൻസ് ഒക്കെ നടക്കുകയാണ്. അതുകൊണ്ട് കുറെ കുട്ടികൾക്ക് ഇപ്പോൾ ജോയിൻ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്നില്ല, കുറെ കുട്ടികൾ ജോയിൻ ചെയ്യുന്നുള്ളൂ. അങ്ങനെ ഒരു പ്രശ്നം കൊണ്ടാണ് ഇന്ന് നമ്മൾ ഇംഗ്ലീഷിൽ തുടങ്ങിയത്. ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് എളുപ്പമാണ്, തിയറി പേപ്പേഴ്സ് അല്ലേ, എളുപ്പമായിട്ട് നമുക്ക് കംപ്ലീറ്റ് ചെയ്തെടുക്കാം. ബാക്കിയുള്ള സബ്ജക്ട്സിന്റെ കെമിസ്ട്രി, മാത്സ്, ഫിസിക്സ് ഒക്കെ വരുന്നത് നമ്മൾ എന്ത് ചെയ്യും? ഇതുപോലത്തെ ക്ലാസ്സുകൾ തന്നെ ആയിരിക്കും ലൈവ് ക്ലാസ്. അറ്റൻഡ് ചെയ്തവർക്ക് അറിയാം, പുതുതായി ജോയിൻ ചെയ്ത കുട്ടികൾക്ക് കാണാൻ പറ്റും. അപ്പൊ അത് കുറച്ചും കൂടി ഇഫക്റ്റീവ് ആണ്. ക്ലാസ് മനസ്സിലാവും അല്ലെ? നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഇഫക്റ്റീവ് ആയി തോന്നിയിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നോ അങ്ങനത്തെ ക്ലാസ് മുമ്പ് അറ്റൻഡ് ചെയ്ത കുട്ടികൾ? യെസ് ഓക്കെ. അപ്പൊ അത്തരത്തിലുള്ള പ്രോബ്ലം പേപ്പേഴ്സ് നമ്മൾ എന്ത് ചെയ്യും? ഇനി സ്ട്രിക്റ്റ് ആയിട്ട് നമ്മൾ ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് മാക്സിമം നേരത്തെ എടുത്ത് തീർക്കാൻ നോക്കും. കാരണം കുറച്ച് പോർഷൻസ് ഉള്ളൂ, സിമ്പിളും ആണ്. ബാക്കിയുള്ള പോർഷൻസിനാണ് നമുക്ക് കൂടുതൽ ടൈം സ്പെൻഡ് ചെയ്യേണ്ടത്. കൂടുതലായിട്ട് ടൈം എല്ലാം സ്പെൻഡ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് നമ്മുടെ ക്ലാസ്സുകളും കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ ഇങ്ങനെ ആയിരിക്കും. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് സിസ്റ്റം മനസ്സിലായതാണ്. അതുകൊണ്ട് നിങ്ങൾ എന്ത് ചെയ്യുക? നിങ്ങളുടെ ഫ്രണ്ട്സിനെയും ഇതിലേക്ക് എന്ത് ചെയ്യുക? You become an inspiration to your friends. Okay. ഈ ക്ലാസ് അടിപൊളിയാണ് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് തോന്നിയിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ നിങ്ങൾ അത് കമ്മ്യൂണിക്കേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുക നിങ്ങളുടെ ഫ്രണ്ട്സിന്റെ അടുത്ത്. Ask them to join. അവരുടെ അടുത്ത് നമ്മുടെ ട്രയൽ ക്ലാസ്സുകളൊക്കെ 1-2 അറ്റൻഡ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറയാം. എന്നിട്ട് അവരുടെ അടുത്ത് നമ്മുടെ ക്ലാസ്സുകളിൽ അഡ്മിഷൻ എടുക്കാൻ പറയാം. ഓക്കെ. നിങ്ങളുടെ കാരണത്താൽ 1-2 കുട്ടികളെ മാക്സിമം നിങ്ങൾ എന്ത് ചെയ്യണം? ജോയിൻ ചെയ്യിപ്പിക്കണം. നിങ്ങളുടെ സ്കൂളിലൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടാവില്ലേ, നിങ്ങളുടെ ഫ്രണ്ട്സ് ഇല്ലേ ട്യൂഷന് പോകാൻ താല്പര്യമുള്ള സയൻസ് എടുക്കുന്ന കുട്ടികളൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടാവില്ലേ? So ask them. Okay. Try to communicate with them. Is that clear? Ready അല്ലേ? Okay, good. പിന്നെ എനിക്ക് ഒരു കാര്യം കൂടി നിങ്ങളുടെ അടുത്ത് ഒരു ഹംബിൾ റിക്വസ്റ്റ് ആയിട്ട് വീണ്ടും പറയാനുള്ളത് നമ്മുടെ റെസ്പോൺസിന്റെ കാര്യമാണ്. ഇപ്പൊ നല്ല കുട്ടികളായിട്ട് റെസ്പോൺസ് കിട്ടുന്നുണ്ട്. വെരി ഗുഡ് അബൌട്ട് ദാറ്റ്. ഐ ഹാപ്പി അബൌട്ട് യു. സോ ഇതേ സംഭവം തന്നെ നിങ്ങൾ എല്ലാ ടീച്ചേഴ്സിന്റെ ക്ലാസ്സിലും ഫോളോ ചെയ്യണം. റെസ്പോൺസ് തരുന്നത് യു ഹാവ് ടു ഗിവ് റെസ്പോൺസ്. ഓക്കെ. ഇൻകോൾ മെസ്സേജിൽ നിർബന്ധമായിട്ടും വേണം അൺമ്യൂട്ട് ചെയ്തിട്ടും സംസാരിക്കാം. നമ്മൾ കുറച്ച് കുട്ടികളല്ലേ ഉള്ളൂ. അപ്പൊ നിങ്ങൾ അൺമ്യൂട്ട് ചെയ്തു എന്ന് വെച്ചിട്ട് ഒരു കുഴപ്പവും സംഭവിക്കാൻ പോകുന്നില്ല. ഹാവ് ടു അൺമ്യൂട്ട് ആൻഡ് സ്പീക്ക്. ഓക്കെ ഗുഡ്. സോ ഇത് ഇനി വീണ്ടും നിങ്ങളുടെ അടുത്ത് ആവർത്തിച്ച് പറയാനുള്ള ഒരു അവസരം ഉണ്ടാക്കരുത്. യു ഹാവ് ടു റെസ്പോണ്ട്. കാരണം നമ്മളിങ്ങനെ വെർച്വൽ പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോമിൽ ഇരുന്ന് ക്ലാസ് എടുക്കുന്ന സമയത്ത് അതിന്റെ കുറെ ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടുകൾ നിങ്ങൾക്കും ഉണ്ട്, ഞങ്ങൾക്കും ഉണ്ട്. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് നല്ല പ്രയാസം ഉണ്ടെന്ന് അറിയാം ഇങ്ങനെ ക്ലാസ് എടുക്കുന്ന സമയത്ത്. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ടീച്ചേഴ്സിനും എന്തുണ്ടാവും? റെസ്പോൺസ് ഒന്നും മര്യാദയ്ക്ക് കിട്ടിയില്ലെങ്കിൽ അവർക്കും ക്ലാസ് എടുക്കാനുള്ള ഒരു എന്തുണ്ടാവില്ല, എനർജി ഉണ്ടാവില്ല. ഓക്കെ. നമ്മളും കുറെ അത് വെച്ച് ടാക്കിൾ ചെയ്ത് വരുന്നൊക്കെ ഉണ്ട്. എങ്ങനെയാണ് ഓൺലൈൻ പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോമിൽ അഡ്ജസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്തെടുക്കുക എന്നുള്ളതൊക്കെ മനസ്സിലാക്കി വരുന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ പോലും അതൊരു പ്രയാസമുള്ള കാര്യമാണ്. അപ്പൊ മാക്സിമം നിങ്ങൾ റെസ്പോൺസ് തരാം. റെസ്പോൺസ് കിട്ടുമ്പോഴേ നമുക്കും ക്ലാസ് എടുക്കാനുള്ള എനർജി ഉണ്ടാവുള്ളൂ. നമുക്ക് കൂടുതൽ പറഞ്ഞു തരാനുള്ള എനർജി ഉണ്ടാവും. നിങ്ങൾ ഡൗട്ട്സ് ചോദിക്കുക, നിങ്ങൾ ക്ലാരിഫിക്കേഷൻസ് വരുത്തുക. എല്ലാത്തിനും നിങ്ങളും ഇങ്ങോട്ട് റെസ്പോൺസ്. ജസ്റ്റ് യെസ് നോ എന്നുള്ളത് മാത്രമല്ല, വേറെ കാര്യങ്ങൾ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് ചോദിക്കുമ്പോൾ അതിനുള്ള മറുപടികൾ പറയുക. ഓക്കെ. So from next class onwards, I want everyone's complete participation in response. Is that clear? Oh, okay, good. So I think we will wind up today's session. Thank you. And please don't forget to mark your attendance, name and roll number. Okay.